Welcome to week 15 of the NFL, and it's the WTF edition of the NFL. One story after another story after another story. You're like going, okay.
Crazier and crazier.
Yeah, it's like, there's trending on Twitter is the NFL is fixed. And I'm not one of those people who believes the NFL can be fixed. It's just there's too many components to fix a game. But man, some of the I was going to start with the Colts Minnesota game.
Then had the Patriots.
I'm watching the Charger game, and I'm watching. I have the ESPN Gamecast going on all the other games, and I go, "Oh, New England has the ball with like 30 seconds left. I have to either score, kick a field goal, or go into overtime." And then I come back and I go, "Wait, 30-24." How's that even possible? So I'm trying to find out what happened. I can't find out what happened. And then eventually Twitter lets me know what happened.
Nonstop. Everybody posting the videos.
I go, whose idea was that?
Crazy.
Did they say, was it the coaches? Or?
Yeah, I guess it was Patricia's idea. But yeah, instead of trying to Hail Mary, you run it down about 30, 40 yards on the right side. The running back tosses it back to Jacoby Myers, and Jacoby Myers basically tosses it back to Mac Jones where he started the play.
Yeah.
And gets intercepted, and he gets run over.
He should be, if Patricia's the one that came up with this plan, he should be fired.
Should leave him in Las Vegas.
This could have cost them the playoffs. They have the toughest road of all the AFC teams right now. And this was your one win. You came back. You were down 17-3 at half. You go up 24 to 17 late. I guess there was a controversial call that was overturned. I didn't see it, but I guess people are saying he stepped out of bounds. But I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But I can't believe a Bill Belichick coach team lost a game that way.
Yeah, you'd think you just play for overtime. Just go.
Yeah, and I just realized no wonder you said Survivor. I have a Survivor background. Anyway, it just kills me. The Patriots for the longest time were the team that beat you because they were smarter. They didn't make mistakes. Has Bill Belichick gotten soft?
I don't know. It's making a lot of mistakes this year.
Obviously Mac Jones was 13 of 31 for 112 yards, no TDs, no interceptions. He just doesn't have it. Derek Carr, who hasn't been much better this season, was 20 of 38, 231 yards, 3 TDs and 1 INT, but he did make the play when he had to. And then Chandler Jones gets the ball and runs over Mac Jones
against his former team.
Yeah, all Mac Jones had to do was kind of just bring him down, and at least they go to overtime. I'm not blaming Mac Jones because I don't know if he came up with the play or not, but just a brutal. I was just like going. And of course, I had New England. For the closest games, the games, I lost 4 games on like the last play of the game. And I'm like, how's that possible? Anyway.
The NFL, where almost everybody's 500.
Yeah, someone's head should roll. There's a few good teams, and the rest of the teams are just, scraping by. Anyway, and then we go to the game I was going to start with was the Colts versus Minnesota game. And I did ask Matt if he wanted to join us to talk about it. He said no. At one point, the Colts were up 33-0. 33-0. That should be an automatic win, right?
But Matt Ryan's been there before, up 28-3.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I'm watching. I watched up to a certain point. Then we had an early Christmas because some people are going out of town, and so I'm on my phone. I go 30. I go 30. It was 36-28. I go, how the hell did it become 36? What's going on here? And then they tied it. And of course, then the Minnesota Vikings won it in overtime.
Seemed like quite the exciting game.
And people on Twitter were saying, Jeff Saturday is the only interim coach that should be fired. I mean, it just, I know they lost Jonathan Taylor right, like I think the first snap of the game.
Yeah.
But still, you're up 33-0. 33-0.
Just take a knee every play. Just run the ball.
Yeah, just run the ball, 2 hands on the ball, take time off the clock. Your defense you have a good defense.
And I think like 5 of their last plays or something were like passes where they just stopped the clock for Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Matty Ice was 182 yards, 1 TD. Kirk Cousins was 460 yards, 4 TDs, and 2 INTs.
Which is crazy considering I think it was middle of the second quarter. He had like 43 passing yards. So
yeah, it was and
basically
it was
430 yards in 2 quarters and 5 minutes.
Right. And someone put on Twitter that Frank Wright had the biggest comeback of all
Buffalo.
time.
I mean, yeah.
And his replacement coach he just now lost it because his replacement coach, Jeff Saturday, gave up a 33-point lead.
Yeah, Saturday's having quite the roller coaster of a coaching experience.
Well, you have to have, you can't just walk in and be an NFL coach. There's too much going on. There's too much in the game. You see a lot, because you see a lot of these top assistant coaches, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, they struggle when they come in because they have to run the whole show. There's a learning curve. And
to be fair, I think he was a consultant for the Colts, so I guess he had been in on like the practices and meetings.
Yeah, but it's different when you're making the final decision.
Right.
That's a tough. He wasn't like even a quarterback. He was just a center. Not that the center is not important, but I don't know. I think they were playing for our. The sad thing is, if they had a better coach during this stretch, they probably could have. What's he coached, like 4 or 5 games? Because they beat the Raiders, and he's coached 5 games. I think they could.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they could have won all those games.
And they were pretty close to becoming the first team in NFL history to have 2 ties in a season.
Yeah. Brutal. Then we're moving on to Saturday night.
The prime time.
Your Dolphins versus the Bills. And I got to agree with Mark Sanchez. Why did the Dolphins stop running the ball?
I know they were averaging 7.5 yards per carry. It was crazy.
I mean, it set Tua up nicely. I mean, it's just like they came out first down pass. I'm like I go, run the ball.
Especially when you see the receivers are struggling catching the ball, like in the cold weather and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you had 2 trips down to the red zone the first 2 times down. You settled for field goals. Should have had a touchdown on that one. What's number 14's name?
Cedric Wilson, yeah.
Yeah,
he threw it right there. He had it on the ground.
It should have been caught, but he's slot. But it's got to be caught. He catches that. It's a different game, obviously. Of course, the pass interference call at the end. I'm like going, why don't defensive backs turn? All they had to do is turn around.
Right.
All he had to do is turn around, and because Allen was just throwing it up for grabs. He was avoiding being sacked, so it would have taken him out of field goal range. And he just threw it up, and I go pass interference. I go, come on.
It was a fun, exciting game, though, back and forth.
It was a fun game, and people are saying, oh, what's the big deal about throwing snowballs? Back in, I think it was 95 or 96, the Chargers were playing the Giants.
Mm.
And Sid Brooks was the equipment manager and stuff like that. He was on the sidelines, and he got hit by a snowball that was so hard it knocked him out, and he almost lost his eye. So, when you're packing those things, it's a weapon. People say snowball, the fluffy snowball. When it's a ball of ice, it's a weapon.
Yeah, I think they talked about it on Twitter that Minnesota played a game there in the 70s or something, Buffalo, and they were throwing snowballs, and I guess it hit one of the running backs and like messed up his eye. So Bud Grant took his team off the field until like they got the situation handled.
Yeah, I mean it's people think it's just a snowball fight, but it's not a snowball. I mean, you're throwing
Plus, you don't know
snowballs.
if like people are putting stuff inside the snowball, like like a battery or something. Or
exactly. I mean, it's come on, you got to be better than that.
Yeah,
I know the Bills fans are drunk and they're having a good time, but you got to be better than that. But right as of now, Tua had a good game, 234 yards, 2 TDs. Josh Allen, 304 yards, 4 TDs. He had a better game.
When that snow started to come down in the fourth quarter, I was like, "Uh-oh, this is like spinach for Popeye. This is going to make Josh Allen more powerful."
And he does very well in the cold weather.
Yeah,
it didn't phase him at all. Whereas you could see Tua was a little off. He was playing well. He was playing well.
He kept his hands in his little jersey warmer until the very last second on each snap. He was like,
yeah, you could tell it was, and it's a shame that they just couldn't get that. They were driving and they had what 8-point lead at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, if they can just get a first down, get down there, get field goal, they'll win this game. But
that was like, run the ball.
But they didn't run. I'm like going, I said, Mark Sanchez was correct. Run the ball. Why do you stop running the ball? You got to run the ball. In the playoffs, especially if you're going to go through Buffalo or Kansas City, you have to beat them by running the ball. You have to keep that offense because they're so electric. They can score so quick. Not that the Dolphins can't.
But I think that's part of having like a rookie head coach. Like he's still like learning on the job when to dial down like aggressiveness.
I've never really heard him speak before, but he spoke after the half. Well, we're only down 1 score, and hey, nice jacket, and I'm like going, huh? Because if they Josh Allen made that touchdown, throw with no time left on the clock, that had to be a backbreaker. I mean, it's just, but he comes out, and I guess that's a good attitude to have. Hey, we're just down by 1 score, no big deal.
Yeah, I saw you put it. What is it? Spicoli video picture.
Well, I was trying to get the comment where it says, "Hey, nice. Where'd you get that jacket?" Because he made a comment, "Hey, nice jacket," but I couldn't find it, so I just put it up there.
Yeah, his interviews are really, really like funny and like interesting. Usually, you used to like Bill Belichick type interviews where you don't get anything. You're just like angry, not happy to be here. Yeah,
we're moving on.
On to next week.
Yeah, but he's I think he's a good coach, but I question the I think Dolphin fans are complaining about Nick Chubb. He's not doing anything. I just saw it on Twitter. Bradley Chubb. I'm Mark Sanchez. Jeez.
Yeah, and you had another one today where I think you were talking about Derrick Henry and you put Travis Henry in your tweet.
Oh, did I put Travis Henry?
Yeah. After I think a week or two on the podcast, you did the same thing.
Oh my God, I'm stuck on Travis Henry. I was even watching the game. I'll have to go delete that. Oh well, I'm old. I'm sick. I'm dying. I think I have pneumonia. Who knows? I'm struggling along here. Next game we have Detroit versus the Jets, and what's the coach's name? Robert Saleh.
Robert Saleh.
Robert Saleh. Did you see the game?
Yeah. Oh, I saw like the highlights.
Yeah, I'm watching the game. It's on the red zone. Jets are down by 3. They gave up a touchdown. The defense for the Jets plays really well, but they gave up a weird touchdown. So the Jets have the ball with 1:42 left, 3 timeouts. Got sacked on the first play, no timeout. Completes a 22-yarder. I'm like, okay, use your timeout. Use your tick, 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 tick. I go, what are you saving these timeouts for? He probably lost like 40, 45 seconds.
And then even the final play, like, how did they not tell the receiver, just get down instead of trying to run to the sideline to stop the clock?
Yeah, you didn't have time to do that, and they gave him a second. 58-yard field goal that was partially blocked or whatever. But that loss, that was on the coach.
Yeah. Again,
That's
another rookie head coach. Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't understand why you don't use your I mean, if I'm a fan sitting at home, go, okay, yeah, let's call timeout. Let's regroup. I can see after the sack, okay, you hurry back up to the line. You get after the 22-yard completion, call a timeout. Just settle down. It went down to like under a minute. It was like 57 seconds when the next, I was going, it was just tick, tick. I go, what are we doing? You still had 3 timeouts. Crazy. I think if they would have called a timeout there, relax, I think they could have easily gotten field goal range, maybe even scored a touchdown. And like I said, they were, if they win, they're, 8-6, and I don't know what their record is against Miami,
but they want to know.
They beat Miami.
They beat Miami when Tua was out, and then they'll play again the final week of the year.
So they would have had the playoff spot over Miami because Miami now is the 7th spot.
Right.
Chargers are the 6th spot. So you cost your team. It's just a mess. And Zach Wilson, to his credit, had a pretty good game. 317 yards, 2 TDs, 1 INT. I thought that's a decent game. Jared Goff, 252 yards, 1 TD. And the Detroit Lions are now 500. 7-7.
Crazy.
It's just a crazy week. Then we have Dallas versus the Jags. And the Jags, if they hadn't had that stretch in the middle where they played bad, they could have made a run in the playoffs, I think. They're playing pretty well right now. Prescott, 256 yards, 3 TDs, 2 INTs. 1 was a pick 6 in overtime. Trevor Lawrence, who you said last week he's really starting to step it up. They're predicting he's going to be like a top 10 quarterback next year because he's getting because I think you said last week this is his rookie season because last year was such a
Urban Meyer mess.
Yeah, and he had 318 yards, 4 TDs, 1 INT, and he looks like he's the guy for the team. The Jags, and they could win their division. They're now 6-8, right? No, 6-8.
Yeah, 6-8.
And the Titans are 7-7. The Titans, I don't think have any players left. I mean, they're. I was watching the game today. They're dropping it was like every play. I go, how could it be another Titan? What are they feeding these guys?
Well, Tannehill got knocked out of the game, but then he came back.
Yeah, he was carted off, and they brought in what's his name, and he looked all right. He was 3 of 4 for
Willis, I think, is their backup. Yeah. Malik Willis.
He looked all right, but Tannehill came back in. Tannehill just couldn't move, and then the offensive line was falling. They were losing offensive linemen. They already were missing offensive linemen, and the Chargers just started putting pressure on them. We'll get to that when we get there, but yeah, the Jags. I look for the Jags next season. Another good draft. They could be a team to be reckoned with next year. And then we have Kansas City versus the Texans. Kansas City has won the AFC West 7 straight times.
I was surprised Houston was hanging in with them for most of the game.
Yeah, it went to overtime. And then there was a run. It looked like the Texans just said, "Okay, we quit." It was a long run, but Mahomes 336 yards, 2 TDs. Davis Mills 121 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions for either one.
But Mahomes end the game with 20 straight completions. So the record's 25. So if he gets the first 5 next week, he'll tie it.
I can see him doing that. They're not playing anyone tough either, I don't think.
They're playing Seattle at home.
Seattle? Oh, okay. Well, they should beat Seattle. But 7 straight AFC West division to win the AFC West 7 straight times. That's almost like Patriots. I don't even think the Patriots won the East that many times, did they?
I think, Miami won it the year Brady hurt his ACL, I think.
Yeah.
And then Jets might have won it the Mark Sanchez years.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's Patriots every year.
Yeah, Patriots. But it's just an amazing, it's just 7 straight years with course, the three teams that below have three bad coaches on paper. And
But
then
it's
we
pretty
had,
impressive. Like over the last 7 years, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, they've been pretty solid teams.
yeah, but not good enough because Patrick Mahomes is the guy you want starting as your quarterback. And then finally, we have the Titans. Maybe it's not finally. No, it's not finally. Titans versus the Chargers. This game was the Chargers opening drive. They just drove down and scored a touchdown. Made it 7-0. And you thought, okay, they're just going to – and Tannehill had left the game with a bad ankle. And after that, the Chargers couldn't score.
Well, did
Go
Eckler
ahead.
leave the game?
Eckler left the game for a little bit, but he came back in. It was Herbert had 2 interceptions. You see that one interception he had at the end of the half?
Nah.
Yeah. Okay. He overthrows Williams in the end zone. The defensive back goes out of the end zone, throws it, catches it, and throws it back to his teammate.
Smart
for
play.
an INT. I said, and that cost the Chargers at least 3 points because, but that was just a fantastic play. Tannehill 165 yards, no TDs, 1 INT. Herbert 313 yards, no TDs, 2 INTs.
And one amazing sideline pass that was like
I don't know when teams are going to realize Herbert likes to roll out to his right all the time. You have to I think you have to have someone, a scout, go that, once in a while go that way. It was a bullet. It was a great pass, and of course put him in field goal range. I was like, Titans are scoring too quick because it's like 30, and the Titans, to be fair, had no one left on defense. I mean, their whole defensive team was, it's just walking to the side. It was walking wounded. And going into the game, they had a lot of injured players. Mm-hmm. So Chargers won the game, but if I was a Charger fan, I'd be a little worried that we only managed to score 17 points against a team that was last in passing defense. Overall, I think the Titans are last, or they're down near the bottom.
Yeah, I was trying to see who the Chargers were playing next week, but
they are playing the Colts on Monday Night Football in Indianapolis. Dun, 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 dun. But the Chargers now move up to the 6th position in the playoffs. They could do some damage in the playoffs, but we'll see what happens. It's all about health and if they get Bosa back and some of the other players back.
Yeah, I think going in today, they said they had like a 51 chance probability to make the playoffs, and after this win, went up to 72%.
Well, because they play the Colts, the Rams, and the Broncos. But it's in Denver. That's not going to be easy. And because it's never easy to play in Denver. But the Rams, that's a battle of SoFi. We'll see what happens there.
If you had to pick out teams you would want to play, those are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at Colt, all losers, losing teams. Yeah, I want to play them. But sometimes you got to worry about teams that have nothing to play for.
Like Houston today.
Yeah, Houston. I mean, that's why I say, does Lovie Smith get another chance? Do they bring him back for another? I mean, he's done the best he can with the team he has.
Yeah, that team is pretty garbage, offensive-wise, talent-wise.
Yeah, they have nothing. They just have nothing. I would bring him back for another round because what are you going to do? Bring in a rookie coach with terrible players?
With a rookie quarterback, most likely number 1 pick.
Yeah. So if I'm Houston, I would keep Lovie Smith. I don't think he's a great coach, but I think he's good enough to build you to where you want to go to the next level. And then you go hire your winning coach after that to take you to the next level. That's just me, Houston, if you're listening. Next up, we have the Bengals versus Tampa Bay. At one point, it was 17-3 Tampa Bay. I'm like, what's going on with Cincinnati? And then Tom Brady had 2 fumbles that led to touchdowns. And so the final score was 34-23. Cincinnati's on a roll.
Yeah, they're heating up.
Yeah, they're now in first place in their division. Burrow was 200 yards, 4 TDs, 1 INT. Brady 312 yards, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions, and of course the 2 fumbles that led to TDs. I'm not even sure who's winning that division.
I think Tampa Bay still in the
It's still
league
ahead?
just because the others are so bad. Carolina's bad. New Orleans is bad.
Yeah, New Orleans won today, so that was a big deal. They beat Atlanta. I don't know. I don't pay attention. Divisions are so bad.
But yeah,
The Bengals.
both Atlanta and New Orleans have 5 wins.
Wow. And Tampa Bay has 6.
6, yeah.
Yeah. 6 and 8. 6 and 8. Yeah, if two teams, there's a few teams that the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Bills would be 3 teams in the AFC I wouldn't want to play in the playoffs right now.
But it would be fun to have another Kansas City versus Buffalo rematch.
It would. And as of now, it would be in Buffalo because they have the home field advantage. They have the number 1 seed.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah, they both have 11 wins.
But the Buffalo beat Kansas City.
Gotcha.
Next up, it was a Thursday night game, San Francisco with Brock Purdy. What a legend, Brock Purdy. 21-13, 217 yards for Brock Purdy, 2 TDs. Geno Smith, 238 yards, 1 TD. But it's the San Francisco defense that is just hitting on all cylinders right now. They were saying on TV, I was listening to something on the radio. They were saying what makes it playing the 49ers so tough is not only they're good defensively, is they hit you hard. I mean, you feel it after you get hit. You're like, you're hurt. They take a lot out of
their
you.
offense. They like to run the ball and beat you up with their offensive line too.
So, 49ers, can they go to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy?
I think it's probably not because they probably had to go into Philadelphia.
Yeah, because right now you would have the Phillies, the Eagles as your favorite.
I think so. Like, NFC. Just keep rolling.
Yeah, I didn't even put their game down today because they were playing Chicago, but the game was close.
Mm.
But when they had to play well, they played well. But yeah, I would probably put it would have to probably be the Eagles, Niners, and then maybe the Cowboys, because you never know with the Cowboys because I think their coach is questionable.
Mm.
He makes bonehead decisions from time to time. So yeah, that's all I got with happened this weekend. We still have 2 games to go.
The super exciting Giants versus Commanders.
Yeah, that's tonight's game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you got Baker Mayfield versus Aaron Rodgers tomorrow.
Aaron Rodgers. Can Baker do it again? Can he turn his career around? I mean, what happens if he has it? If he finishes out strong, someone's going to take him, right?
Houston Texans.
I don't think they should take him. That's just me. Go get yourself a first-round pick, and build your team around that quarterback. And I don't know. You've been terrible forever. It doesn't matter. Our picks last week. I picked Baltimore. You picked Cleveland. You won. We both picked Buffalo. You picked Detroit. I picked the Jets. So there's 2 games. There's another game I got screwed at the end. We both had Dallas over the Jaguars. I had New England. You had Vegas. Screwed in the last play of the game. I had Tennessee. You had the Chargers. I lost in the last play of the game. And we both had the Bengals over Tampa Bay. So I'm not complaining. But I did kind of get screwed on those plays. So next week, we got the Jags versus the Jets. It's a must-win for both teams. The Jets have to – if the Jets lose this, there's no way. There's no way you can make the playoffs, I would think, losing.
Yeah, there's just too many teams with 7 or 6 wins just waiting to pass them.
Yeah, and then the Jags would be ahead of you because they beat you. So who do you have, Jags versus the Jets?
I'm going to hope Mike White comes back, and I'm going to go with Jets.
I don't think he's coming back, though. He's got cracked ribs.
Broken rib?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it would be nice, but I'm going to go Jags just because, like I said, I don't think Mike White's coming back.
It is always a good choice to pick against Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Again, he didn't have a bad game today, but, they didn't. Again, I blame it on the coach. Bills versus Chicago. I'll take the Bills. The Bills.
Yeah, gotta go Buffalo. 3 wins.
Well,
Chicago.
They have
Fields
to keep
keeps them exciting, but they keep losing.
Yeah, they have to keep. He needs an offense. He got crushed on a play today. This guy came through up the middle. It was like 300. Looked like he was like 350 pounds, and just crushed Fields. I'm like, this guy is gonna. They need to build him an offensive line next season because he's gonna get killed out there. Giants versus Minnesota. Minnesota's already won the division, but they want to get some home field advantage. I'm going to take Minnesota. Too much firepower for the Giants.
I'll change up and I'll go with the shaky Giants.
The shaky Giants. Okay.
Pulling off an upset.
Cincy versus New England. I'll be surprised if New England even shows up for the game after what happened. I think Cincinnati has too much running game. Their defense is playing better. And, of course, they have Burrow. I'm going with Cincinnati.
I agree with you. Cincinnati's got it rolling right now.
Yeah. And then we have the Washington Commanders versus the 49ers. Brock Purdy. Washington needs this win.
I'm going to go San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm going to take San Francisco too. Too much defense.
You have a nice matchup, Philadelphia at Dallas.
Yeah,
Philly versus 10-3.
Philly versus Dallas. Dallas has to win this game. Can't lose 2 in a row down the stretch. But I'm going to take Philly. I think they got too much firepower.
Like you're saying, Dallas needs it. So I'm going to say Dallas pulls it off.
All right.
Gives Philadelphia their second loss of the year.
Okay. We have Las Vegas versus Pittsburgh. I just put this up here just for conversation. Pittsburgh's defense is playing much better, but they still have Travinsky. I don't know if he's going to be playing next week. I'll take Pittsburgh. I don't know.
I will go with Vegas.
Vegas. You know, if Vegas wins this game, they're 7-8. They're back in the playoff spot. I mean, back in the hunt at least with 2 games to go. And then we end with the Chargers versus the Colts. Monday Night Football. Chargers have to keep winning because if you lose, you're at that bottom there. It's all bunched up. Colts, you look at their team and go, okay, why aren't they winning? Because they have a terrible head coach. Go ahead and make the pick, Mike. Who do you have?
I will go with the Chargers.
Chargers. Just to be different, I'm going to go with the Colts. I don't know why.
You're like, maybe they'll hold the 38-0 lead this week. Or 33-0.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Chargers are getting players back. They're looking better defensively. They don't have Derwin James, which is I think their best defensive player. Now, rumors are he has a tear in his quad, not just a strain quad, but it hasn't been confirmed nor denied. Definitely need him for the playoff run, and they can't lose. When the Eckler went down today, I said that's the one. Other than Herbert, they can't lose Eckler because they have no one in the backfield that can do what Eckler can do at all. But that's all we got.
Justin Kelly is just like a runner, right? He doesn't really catch passes.
He's like 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I mean, he's nothing special. I know a lot of Charger fans like him. His 3rd year in the league, hasn't really shown much. I mean, it just if you're just not, you don't suddenly become a great, as the years go on, you don't become a great quarterback. You can, but running back, you either have it or you don't. And again, that's their weakest position is running back because they don't have the depth. And if they lose Eckler, it's over. But that's all I got.
Sounds good.
You got anything else?
No.
And next game, all the games are most of the games are on the 24th.
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and then we got 3 games on Christmas Day, and then of course the Monday night game. So, and the Sunday games look pretty bad, if I remember correctly. They weren't great matchups.
Yeah, you have Green Bay at Miami's all right, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, Broncos versus the Rams, so 3. No, they're great.
Yeah. And the Dolphins have to win that game. They have
Definitely.
to beat who are they playing again? Green Bay.
Packers, yeah.
And it's in Green Bay though, right?
No, it's in Miami.
No, it's in yeah, that's what I meant, Miami. They
Thankfully,
should win that.
They gave Miami a relief from the cold.
Yeah, they should win that game. They have to win that game. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, tell a friend, all that fun stuff. Thanks, Randy, for joining us in the chat. I don't know if you're still here, but we'll be back later on. Bye, everybody.
See you next week.